Okay, my daughter is moaning. Just wanted to share that before I say hello. Welcome back. She's just gonna sit on the floor and moan. It's all good. It's all good. See that wonderful eyeball? Those are my dragon eyes. I made one and we're gonna make the other together. And then we're gonna do a black on all of these with a little bit of shell, and then we're gonna cover it with acrylic and file it down, and it's gonna have a really neat, glassy, dragony, cool effect. So, stay tuned, because that's what's happening today. But now I have my other daughter in here too, and she's like looking so she can like wave. Hi Haley. My kids are nuts. They're insane, but I love them. I love my insane children. So I got my black, and I'm going in. Basically, all I'm gonna do is build an eyelid on my dragon eye. And these are just like beads you can pick up at any craft store, like beads or like little things you can get for crafting. Little eyeballs. And this one looked kind of dragony, so I wanted to use that. So I'm just basically going around, filling it in with the black to make like an eyeball, like lid shape. Oh, and there's my husband singing. Yes, yes. My family's insane. Okay. Now I want to bring this down a bit, so I want it to be more like a lid. But because it is a dragon, it's going to have a neat shape to it, so. And I decided that instead of just doing black and adding like something to make it shape like a dragon scaly, I thought I'm going to use shell, because shell gets really pretty when you put acrylic over it. And this way, when I put the acrylic over it, it's going to look really interesting. And it'll get all nice and shiny and have all these nice colors in it, just like a dragon does. And since it's so hard to literally, oh, and there's the small one, that's Chloe. And since it's so hard to get the right colors on a dragon, I find, I thought this would be a good way if I used my shell. So I wanted it to be colorful. So I've got 4 different colors here. I've got black, green, pink, and purple. And I think I kind of want my dragon to be a little bit more
It's creepy.
Purple. So I'm going to put that there. So I'm going to put that there. I don't like that shape. Here, let's use this one. There, something more like that. And then I'm going to use some pink right down in here. Oh, I want to kind of shove it into the acrylic so it stays. Now my husband is using the printer. I want to use a little bit of this green. I didn't use it near the eye on the other one. But I kind of want to give it the shape, like an illusion of almost like, what do you call it? The illusion of scales, almost. So I want the little points to kind of be out a bit. Oh, stop. Picking something off his fur and he's not liking it. So I just want to make sure I got enough of these colors around the eye here. I think I want a little piece up here. There. So this is what it's going to kind of look like so far. Now, all I want to do with the black at this point is just color in the rest, just enough so I can stick the shell into it and make sure cover is fully coverage on all of the nail. That's all I really want to do. And I want to do it in kind of sections here, so I'll do the top section here, then the bottom, so it doesn't dry out before I get there. So at this point, I want to take some of these little pebbly type rocks, put it right above the eyebrow. I just thought it would give a nice little definition to the eye. So I just want to do a little bit of that around. Just around the eyeball there. Something like that. Come on, pick up. There. Just trying to get a few here. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to go in with my shell before it dries. Oh, and I knocked him over. It's all right. Not a biggie. Here's a good one. Because it's got a nice spiky appearance to it. Here's another good one. I'm getting stuck all up in my acrylic here. Okay, here's another good one right here. Now, if I have to, I'm going to wet my acrylic just a little bit before it dries. And I want to do a little bit more green here. These are fairly small pieces. This one might work. Like that. And then maybe another purple. There's more of a square one. Like that. And maybe one of these little green ones for the very top if I can get it to fit. I see a hair. There. Okay, now at this point I'm going to work my way down to the bottom. And you guys probably can't even see what I'm doing because I am like way out of frame. But you guys know me, when I get busy and into something, I forget where my hands are. Okay, so there's my other black for down there. Now I want to do the same thing. Find some, oh, look at that nice jagged piece. That might be a little too big. Maybe not. Put that one there. I want it to kind of look scaly, so I like to try to find like little triangle type pieces if I can find them. Like that. Oh, I think I like that, just like that. I think that's it. So now I'm going to go ahead and let that dry, and of course I'd want to add acrylic all around it. So I am going to do the same on the other nails, maybe vary it a little bit, put some of the beads heading up along in here, and then add the different sections on it. So we'll see, but I'm going to continue doing that and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay, so this is what I have so far. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to encapsulate. Let me just show you what I've done here. So I've done some as half, some as full, half, the eyes, half, full, and half. So I'm going to start to do the encapsulation. When I get to the eyes here, I'm going to leave that portion open and just encapsulate the rest, because I want to keep them as clear as possible. I don't want them under, plus they're already high enough. I don't really need anything else. I do have these little, they're almost like little dot sprinkles. If I want, I might even add a few maybe goldish type ones in there. I don't know, these ones look pretty light. I don't know if I want to do that. I'll see how I feel when I get there. So I'll be right back when I start to encapsulate, and we'll do all that together. Okay, so I'm just at a point where I'm getting ready to encapsulate. Sorry, I've had a million things happening today with the kids, so trying to do anything has been kind of pull my hair out. I just want to put my battery pack on there. Okay, now at this point you could leave it. I kind of worry about the really delicateness of those sorry, shell. That's what it is. It's shell. This one has got a lot of black on it, so I'm going to just get out my better brush here. I have to clean that one off. Okay. Use my better brush here. So I'm going to go through and encapsulate this whole thing. I want to do the little pebbles and everything. And I'm going to go through and put clear over the tip. And I'm literally just going to leave that tip so very clear. Now I do want to keep it a little bit wet just so I can get everything down in between that that shell. But I don't want it so wet that I'm not really making a good bead here. And of course you still want to look for structure and apex. And then you're going to lightly file after. Try to get as much of it as you can, even and gentle now, then you have less filing to do. And even if you do file into the shell a little bit, that's okay because it gives it a nice effect. Nice effect. Just want to make sure it's pushed down and all right. a little spot there. I just want to make sure it's got enough acrylic in there. There. Okay, and it's going to be a little bit bumpy because it's got all this stuff going on, but it shouldn't be too terribly bad. And then I'll move on to the next one, and I'm just going to keep doing this all the way along. And when I get to those eyes, I just want to avoid the center part of the bead, like where the actual eyeball is. I still want to encapsulate it all except for the eyeball. I want to keep that eyeball as clear as possible. The only thing I want to put over that eyeball is some top coat because it is so high. Like those are like a crafting item that's so high, you really don't want to build up too much on top of that. You really don't need it either in this instance. And I put the eyeballs in an actual place where it's actually helping apex. So we should have no problems with anything else there. But I have a feeling this set is just gonna be beautiful because of all the shell in it. It's gonna be all roughed up and it's gonna look really nice. And I am gonna wanna do it in glossy because of the fact that the shell is in there. It's gonna really make it look nice. And glossy is going to be the way to go on this. And I am making very small beads instead of bigger beads. And like I said, I am keeping it fairly wet because I want it to get all down in between that that shell. What I usually do is my very first amount that I put on, I'll do it a little bit wet. Then once it starts to dry a bit, I'll go in with a little bit drier on top. And that's where I start to like build my structure, and once I get it all lined up, that's where I'll start to make sure there's enough everywhere. Then I'll go through and check my apex and add more. And I'll let this kind of set a little bit so it's not so runny and goopy. Like something like this would probably be good for like a polygel. But the one thing I do notice with polygel is it works so much better when there's not that much underneath, or else it gets too wild and hard to deal with and to tame. I like my acrylic. Acrylic, when you've got a nice bead of acrylic, that's way too wet. When you got a nice bead of acrylic, you can, way too wet. I'm still getting used to this brush too. This brush is a little bit, it's really a nice brush to work with. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my brush. This is a beautiful brush to work with, but you gotta be very careful about how much product you're putting on it. See, now at this point, I'd probably just leave it, let it dry, and then I'll go after and I'll just double check all my ridges, make sure when everything is dry. Sometimes you get weird light. I know I do. It could just be my light here, and if I let it dry completely, then I can really see my ridges and stuff. And sometimes that means I add a little bit too much acrylic. I'd rather add too much than too little, because once you filed everything off, it's gone. There's no getting it back. But yeah, you just want to get it all encapsulated. And at that point, I would probably leave it. Now, you guys are probably going to want pictures, so I'll try to file it down a little bit before we go on, so you can get a good picture of it. But as you can see, it's going to be a gorgeous set, so it'll be really, really good. I might even decide just to put these ones on so you can see and I can file it, but I'll figure that one out as I'm going. But for now, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to do this, and then I'll be back to take some shots for you. Have a good one. Bye. Okay, so it's the next morning. I was kind of up late. My kids are not feeling that great today, so I'm not going to be online a lot today. I did a rough, oh, there's Chloe. Hello, Chloe. I did a rough file. Yeah, she's not feeling well today. I think she'll be home from school. So I did a rough file on these nails. I'm going to cure them. And it will be much better file once I get them on. It's really hard to file them too well on these little pegs here. So what I'll do is I will just get these ready for a couple of shots. And I'm just top coating now. I'm just top coating just to protect and just to show you guys what it's going to kind of look like when it's done. And when I go to put them on, I will do a little bit better of a file and just clean them up a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and top coat them again, or do any more acrylic that I need or whatever. But I'm pretty sure they should be pretty good, but they will need a little bit more of a file. So you can see how I kind of placed all my acrylic on and stuff. So I will get these finished and I will be back to show you the results. Okay, and here are the finished nails. And I will take some pictures for you. And let me see, maybe I can get some light in there. These are very gorgeous. Let me see. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm trying to get some light in there. Lots and lots of color. Gorgeous nails. They're very gorgeous. As you can see. There. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take a couple of pictures, and I will see you next time. Bye now.